Right, now where do I start? You'd think it'd be simple. Just start at the start. But the start isn't even the start. It's the restart, because Sidney Newman thought it was the worst piece of work he'd seen in a long time. And after watching the pilot, well, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's certainly nothing solid. I do remember preferring it to the actual episode a long age ago, but not anymore. I'd say it's just about alright, but the mischaracterizations that Newman noted and the technical issues, like actors not being able to get past doors, lighting problems, and the stagehands getting an uncredited role thereabouts, without a doubt, are on full-blown display as opposed to minorly exploded display there, and thankfully not in HD, otherwise that'd just be unfortunate. Very funny, very funny, but unfortunate. Frankly, I find it a bit odd that the budget for reshooting it existed, since Classic Who's budget is regularly compared to a ham sandwich. Speaking of ham sandwiches, I can only describe this as something that's gone off. It's a bit moldy. There's obvious bits that you're just going to have to pick off, but then you're left with less ham, and because of that, less of a sandwich. And therefore a worse sandwich. I'll stop hammering on about the pilot. For now. I'll get back to it in a little while, and start going on about the actual start of... well, we all know who. So, as with all good stories, we start out with a policeman being unobservant. Very accurate. And then the TARDIS. And then we go back to school. I thought you'd left. Oh, no. You're gonna be stuck here till the sun blows up. Which had happened at least 3 times, but hey, let there be light. Then we get into the real meat of the story. Told you I was going to talk about ham again, as the plot kicks off with Barbara talking with Ian about Susan. Actually, I don't know why I am summarizing this story. If you're here, you just saw the ruddy thing. Although, actually, you know what? Screw it. I like it. Back to it. So, they go on all about the weird stuff about Susan. I mean, I get why they think something more is going on, especially with her grandfather's address being a junkyard, but to me it only looks odd. It's not really that odd, even with the stuff they talk about later. Bogus address? Simple. He just doesn't want any spam mail, because spam mail is only acceptable when it's served warm and made with ham. The symbolization? Oddball theory that may or may not be true. The science experiments in textbooks? Well, that just reflects the quality of Ian and Barbara's teaching than anything else. Lazy buggers. Lazy! At any rate, they are quite fond of each other, that comes across quite readily, so of course, everyone ships Barbara and Ian as they should. They are the best. Undebatable. Ultimately, they head off to check out their junk. They mow their yards. Check out the junkyard. But before they do that, they talk with Susan to get a better feeling on what they're about to get themselves into. And they also find out what kind of music she likes to listen to. It's here they just encounter a bit more, a couple oddities, but again, I don't find this one odd at all. So what, she can finish a book on the French Revolution in an evening? I do the same with many other books. Just a habit of the voracious reader, that's all. We're more powerful than most countries, you know. So after that, they go off to check in on Susan, follow her into the junkyard, and somehow aren't seen by this elderly fart wafting away his stomach gases in their general direction. Who is he? I've no idea, neither do they, but so long as we're all quiet, we should be... Susan, shh. Oh, well, motherfucker, if you're going to talk that loudly, then I should wonder if even if his hearing aid was on silent, he wouldn't hear that. Dear God. Well, anyway, they're busted now, more than the TARDIS's chameleon circuit, and so they try to recover their cover under the cover of breaching Susan's privacy. Making sure everything's all right. Naturally, the senior bugger's rather wily and bemused by the whole thing. It's not every day you get accused of bustling away a teenager, though the amount of times that happens in 60s Who is rather noticeable. Regardless, he manages to get a good few roasts in, making even Gordon Ramsay jealous, what with all the perfectly seared egos he's flambéed with only his vocal cords and a dash of, "Nice opinion, but there's only one door, young man." Though I will say, I do find it rather odd he talks to Ian primarily and Barbara secondarily. Perhaps I'm just noticing things that aren't there, but really, if you want both of them to...
Go away.
You'd better put in the same amount of effort on them, you old codger. Of course, all your efforts are for naught because Susan opens the door, but otherwise you might have been rather screwed there, Mr... No. Still don't know his name. Oh, yeah, then Barbara goes inside the police box that's been there all this time and... Holy crap, it's bigger on the inside! Oh, my God! Oh. These buggers are aliens, aren't they? Oh, dear Lord. Imagine if Susan hadn't opened those doors. Total different trajectory of the entire history of this story. Oh, lots of Tories. Oh, should I think that joke? No, what's the dope saying?
A thing that looks like a police box standing in a junkyard. It can move anywhere in time and space.
Yes.
Quite so. But that's ridiculous.
Of course, Doctor... No, still don't know. Definitely isn't in a good mood at all now that these two teachers are here. He's totally dismissive of them. Neither would I be pleased, nor would you, nor would Frank, nor would Bartholomew. Mary might, though, she's quite brave. But otherwise, well, who'd want two strangers entering your house without asking, eh? Though it does provide a lot of funny dialogue.
But you've discovered television, haven't you?
Yes.
Then by showing an enormous building on your television screen, you can do what seemed impossible, couldn't you? Not quite clear, this is. I can see by your face that you're not certain. You don't understand. I knew you wouldn't. Never mind. Yes, ship. This doesn't roll along on wheels, you know.
What? Oh, I see. Yes, indeed. I've no idea what it said, it just made a lot of whispering noises. There's one matter I definitely am bringing up, though, and that's this line.
Susan, remember the Red Indian? When he saw the first steam train, his savage mind thought it an illusion too.
Because, of course, it's bloody racist. I'm not going to ignore it, because I don't have that luxury. I am going to call out whenever I see stuff like this, racist, sexist, like that business in the junkyard earlier, and all the other oh-so-glorious things that pop up in this time travel show about people from the future, Because I endeavor to be as forefront and transparent about things like this, because otherwise I have no idea how people are meant to do better. If they don't even acknowledge things beyond state of the line, wouldn't catch that happening now, would you? When it does unwaveringly happen now, it's just that people at large have their heads in the sand. Expect a good deal more comments like this from Susan's grandfather, though. He's got a nice, healthy larder of these things to say. The prick. Though, interestingly, it doesn't happen with any of the other main characters in his tenure, that I can remember. Just himself. Might possibly have to do with him being the grandfather figure and certain old people having had lots more time to get solidified in their old and racist ways. But frankly, it's the fault of all involved that it gets passed into the show, since I doubt they'd have people as racist as that in common abundance to have a ship like this in whatever century these two are from, what, the 49th? Of course, there's more later to say, oh, blimey, is there? But for now, Ian's had enough of old racist grandpa and tries to operate this, machine? Ship that's not on wheels, you know, to open the doors, but he's got as much chance as working this, TARDIS as I have figuring out how newfangled smart technology works due to me being old-fangled dumb technology. And he probably gets quite a shock when he can't work it. And yes, if you've not noticed, I make puns. And yes, you will have to endure them. But don't worry, I'll make sure they're current enough for you and aren't too revolting. Anyway, moving on, Grandpa here appears to have settled down after talking with Susan and roasting Ian and Barbara some more, getting them nicely well done, very well done, and, he seems to actually be letting them go? What? That's not right. What the heck? Oh, it's taking off. Oh, blimey, worst hangover ever, and the... Where are we now, old man? Oh no, it's nothing but sand. Coarse, rough, gets everywhere sand. And the... oh no. Oh no. This fashion's errata. Oh, bugger me, they're screwed. It's the death of Doctor Who. See? It even says it. Oh my word! Oh, it's just a caveman. Oh, well, that's alright. Just show you're unarmed, and him and his people aren't likely to hurt you. 9 times out of 10. Of course, there's a little sequence here with the Tribe of Gum, who aren't even called the Tribe of Gum outside of Venusian Lullaby and the Hunters of the Burning Stone, but I'll refer to them as such because I like names. But they're all busy with fire, so I'll check back in on them in a bit. Meanwhile, the Quartet? Is that right? Start to all come round from their trip. Didn't even have to use any high-cost weed for that. He could actually charge a good amount for this whole operation, couldn't he? I mean, I'm getting sidetracked. Right, they're all round the console, and Ian's immediately skeptical that they've actually gone anywhere. As you would when a curmudgeon with technology that makes James Bond look like James Cod decides to take you all for a trip in his favorite rocket ship that's not on wheels, you know. Though it does have one of my favorite interactions from these two.
Time doesn't go round and round in circles. You can't get on and off whenever you like in the past or the future.
Really? Where does time go, then?
It doesn't go anywhere. It just happens and then it's finished.
Where does time go then, indeed? Up your arse, young man, up your arse. Don't worry though, Ian, it's just how Doctor Who is, boyo, and you better get used to it.
Eh? Doctor Who? What are you talking about?
Exactly what I'm wondering. Anyway, Doctor Who, or the Doctor, according to a few credits on this serial and miscellaneous places, opens the doors, and Ian here has to support himself on Susan and Barbara, totally bewildered now that he knows he's wrong, and asks that ever-pertinent question for the rest of eternity.
Who is he? Doctor Who?
A question so insignificant it gets repeated in almost every other story. But more on that in, well, a long way down the line. But for now, Doctor Who takes up smoking. Bad habit, of course. He drops it immediately in the same episode. Literally, he just did right there, you see. Naturally, Susan's frantic, and, well, I would be too. I don't quite know why Barbara and Ian aren't. I mean, Doctor Who's the only one who can fly the ruddy ship. He's our only Uber out of here. Oh, well, anyhow, they go off to find him, and currently Doctor Who's about to become the village Stoney, and he'll really meet his match then, especially since he needs one to make fire. Oh yes, there's more fire stuff. The trio come in to get him out, but they're caught. Carl's being kind of a creep to Barbara, fuck off you wretch, and then they're taken to the Cave of Skulls and we get more also wonderful sexist stuff.
Yes, the woman is mine.
Dear Lord, forgive us our trespasses, but don't forgive all this. There has to be a limit. But at least from all this, gives a nice glimpse into this old man's morality.
If he dies, there will be no fire.
So, no to human manners, but yes to general preservation of life? That's better than others, and also shows a small hint of what's to come. And then there's this nice line.
I do not like what has happened. Old men never like new things to happen.
Which hasn't changed. Still the same today, indeed. Ah, and there's this bit further on from Mr. Doctor Who.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I'm desperate.
Oh, don't blame yourself, Grandpa.
Which does show he at least can accept responsibility for when he's fucked up. That's a basic thing to be able to do, but any points are good points when you've kidnapped two people. Oh, yes, also, those are actual bones. Not the skulls. Well, probably not the skulls. But everything else was from an abattoir. They did stink after a while under those hot studio lights, so as you can imagine, people on set with a very keen sense of smell had a bone to pick with whoever procured them. Yeah. Picking up from that, Ian and Barbara chastise the Doctor. Look, if they can call him that, I can, not just Doctor Who, for being quite bluntly an unhelpful bastard, to which he responds by, providing a suggestion to get them all out of their bottoms. Well, more glimpses of a better side, who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? Though it may be more to get himself free than anything else, but it's a start. And, getting ahead of it, but he does also prompt Barbara to try and remember the path of the TARDIS, which, in his own way, like she says, is him trying to help, and also has that mildly known line.
Fear makes companions of all of us. Fear is with all of us and always will be. Just like that other sensation that lives with it. Hope. Hope, that's right.
Which gets misused quite so from what I can recall about it 11 Doctors later, but that bridge is to be crossed a far way away, and this is now. Well, the past is now, which is now the present. Right, anyway, avoiding giving the audience a headache, and myself, all the gums are sleeping by the old woman, because old people don't actually need sleep. They just like to close their eyes for a long time. In reality, though, the old woman's gone. You know, does she have a name? What am I saying? Of course she has a name. What is it? Oh, come on! Oh, fine, then, fine. All right, let's see. Name. Let's give you a name. La? No. Fa? No. Lan! Ah, yes. Lan. That's good. Well, not good. But I'd rather say one syllable than three. The tongue does get tired after a while. What's happening? Oh, yes, right. She set them free, and she's just been busted for it. Right, and ouch! Ooh. Well, that had to have hurt. Oh, sorry, my dear, but it's only going to get worse, I'm afraid. Oh, at the same time, the four, acquaintances, I suppose, are making their way through the forest of fear, and don't worry about that. That's just a Sunday crowd.
I thought I heard something when we stopped back there.
Oh, yes, they do like to hide, sneaky buggers. I don't know why they do, just because Doctor Who's airing on Sundays now doesn't mean they film on them. Such silly people. And yes, Barbara's really exasperated about the fact they're in a forest running for their lives. And to be totally frank, her and Ian have done far more than could be said for most people to go this long without cracking just a tiny bit under the initial fact that they've gone back in time. Holy mother of pearl, this is the past, and all that business. I'd have been screaming the moment I saw Grandpuff over there flicking the switches, knowing I was well and truly screwed, more than most Philip heads. Back to the present, well, whatever the heck it is, this little respite of theirs that they're having also showcases the conflict between Ian and Barbara with Mr. Doctor Who more here before it reaches a very apparent point. Oh, and then there's this.
And I won't allow myself to be frightened out of my wits by mere shadows at all.
Which he won't be saying so light-heartedly later, but that's another forest, and oh my word, they've come across Boris Johnson. What a small world it is. Oh, right, and Zara and her aren't too far behind, and oh, look out, man! Oh, jeez, oh, that's gotta sting. But at least the quartet can get away now. What are you doing? Oh, botheration.
They must be out of their minds.
Yes, I agree, but this is probably that humanity thing people talk about, which the Doctor does get called out on his lack of, and I suppose I should on mine, I suppose. But he does bring up the valid point of their escape getting out could spread easily, even if he considered these people quote-unquote savages, and to have a total absence of logic and reason, which is bullshit, of course. If they didn't have logic and reason, Lond wouldn't have set them free, now would she? No, what's going on with her? Oh no. Oh, what a terrible waste. Technically the first ally of the TARDIS team, but also the first person ever to die in Doctor Who. Recurring pattern of a sort throughout the series, isn't it? Friends of the time travelers dying. Every loss of life is horrible, each and every... What the fuck are you doing, Doctor Who?
Well, I was going to get him to draw our way back to the TARDIS.
Oh, Christ. Well, if you weren't keeping an eye on him before, then... Ugh. Oh, and we get another possibly sexist line, of course. Well, I say possibly.
You don't expect me to carry him, do you?
Do you want the women to do the job for you?
Oh, very well.
Maybe I'm just being, too forward or looking into these things, but, seeing ghosts of non-existent people, like when you thought you saw a nice tub of ice cream in the freezer and then it somehow disappeared by the time you go back to get a scoop or two, that's curious. But I would rather be wrong in these things than to ignore it and then there was something there to try and look at, rather be incorrect about something that's not there than ignore something that is there, Does that make sense? Well, hopefully. And now we have this Carl bloke shifting the blame onto Zara and her. Well, that definitely isn't going to bite him in the neck later, but of course they all believe him, and as you can expect...
Back! Come back!
Naturally, the party's captured and shut down faster than when someone calls the coppers on any other kind of party, and Carl repeats his shifting blame, but now this time Doctor Who's got the upper hand on that greedy fuck.
Is this your strong leader? One who kills your old women? Huh? He is a bad leader. We'll kill you all. Go, hold. Drive him out.
Drive him out! He killed the old woman!
I will say, multiple degrees of amorality Doctor Who does have, the wanker, but, he's decently clever when he tries to be, isn't he? Now they've all cast Carl out of the tribe, but all the quartet's efforts of humanity, compassion, all that humany-womany thingamajigs were for naught, because they get put back in the Cave of Skulls anyway.
The young one, whose name is Friend, spoke to me. He said, Cal is not stronger than the whole tribe. The whole tribe drove Cal away with the stones. The whole tribe can collect more fruit than one. The whole tribe can kill a beast where one of the tribe would die. I must hear more things to remember. The leader would have things to remember.
Oh, interesting. Well, I was wrong. Wasn't for naught. He did actually listen. People surprise you. Ha! Oh, Oh, yes, people do surprise you. Oh, well, all right, but he's still asking after fire. But at least this time it's in exchange for their lives as opposed to in exchange for nothing, so, that's a 100% increase in value. Well, now they have fire and Zar's a leader, and oh, for Pete's sake, that bastard's back in... Oh, a fight sequence. Well, I don't know how to commentate on this, just, well, it's choreographed quite well, isn't it? Yes, quite well, though, I will say, for people of this quartet, oh, that's the term, yeah, considered to be primitive, Zar thus knew the quite advanced technique of the little nipple twister. So, despite the team giving them fire and basically being the tribe's own private furnace, they're essentially well-treated prisoners. So, prisoners. Wonderful. How do you all not get bored being stuck around this place? Like, what do you even... Jesus, Susan. That's a bit grim. That's literally someone's skull. What's the point of...
We're going to die.
Oh. Oh, quite ingenious. I mean, totally desecrating the dead, and their ghosts are going to be as restless as all high fuck, but it did buy you enough time. Well, I suppose desperate times call for desperate measures, yes, I suppose it... Get inside, man! What are you doing? There you are.
Come on, Doctor, get us off! Get us off!
Oh my word, Ian, I didn't know you'd all gotten that close. Well, now, anyway, you're all safe and can get back to 1963.
You know I can't do that. Please be reasonable.
What?
Please, you must take us back, you must.
What? Oh, botheration, there's always something, isn't there? Yes, well, mine is the Cliffhanger. That's an Unearthly child over and done with. The first ever Doctor Who story. How remarkable. Yes, quite remarkable. I mean, I wouldn't show it to someone who's just started New Who. God, no. But if they're curious and want, heavily keyword, want to start from the very beginning, well, they can likely get through it. Because there's all that typical numerous ists, racist, sexist of the past in it, all scattered throughout it like flowers in the wind. Ugh. I can stomach it, personally, but that's due to having watched loads of old television and growing up in a southern U.S. state. Yeah, you can imagine how it is. Present tense. I do actually find this whole serial, not just the first part, to be very good. Hypocritical, I know, but it'd be a lot better if it wasn't so intent on shooting itself in the foot with all its transgressions. There's quite a decent story here about having to undergo personal growth and expanding your mind by listening and cooperating with others, helping each other, eh? But it keeps bludgeoning itself with thinking it is the one to be listened to, not the one that has to learn, which is really quite a decent number of people, isn't it, come to think of it? Oh yeah, these kinds of transgressions, and more, oh yes, a lot more, pop up quite a great deal in Classic Who, the expanded media books, and New Who. Don't think that's getting away lightly. Not just the first couple years of New Who, mind, but, well, that's a larger topic for a future occasion. No, there was something that get... Oh, yes, the pilot. Almost forgot. Oh, well, I said most of what I thought about it at the start, the start of the start. But one thing I will also say about it is that it's also just weird to watch. To go back to the ham sandwich, of course, what's wrong with a ham sandwich, I ask you, and don't answer that. It's like somebody's put some gigantic menageries of condiments in it. Not mustard or ketchup or even mayo, no, nothing like that. But more like tartar sauce and ranch dressing. I mean, yes, it is edible. I mean, it is watchable. But you get the feeling that it quite simply has a lot of things going wrong with it, and it leaves a very odd taste in your mouth after you're done with it. Well, if you want to see it, do. It's a nice point of curiosity. Yes, nearly at the end now. Oh, yeah, almost forgot to check in on the Cliffhanger for this. Great, where are they now? The land of the candy canes? All right, could be worse, I guess. Well, at least it's better than the last place. Well, just take a couple radiation pills and it'll be okay. At least you have those around this ship from the 49th century, whatever. Probably. At last, finally, it's done. I've been wanting to make this since November, but stuff got in the way. Oh boy, yes, that's an understatement. Hopefully you like this. If not, I don't know why you're still around, but thank you for the view and the dislike, presumably. All rights and copyrights and all that jazz goes to the proper owners and such, and oh, this music, here, the one that it just transitioned into, by Delikium. Delikium? Whichever way you pronounce it, I encourage you to go to their channel. Absolutely great music. Absolutely, yes. Totally. Right. Well, till the next time then. Right. Bye-bye. Goodbye.